RAW's role in the Bangladesh Liberation War and its potential involvement in the current political crisis in Bangladesh. Introduction. Background of the Bangladesh Liberation War. The Bangladesh Liberation War, also known as the War of Independence, took place in 1971. It was a conflict between East Pakistan, now Bangladesh, and West Pakistan, now Pakistan. The war was triggered by political, economic, and cultural discrimination against the Bengali population in East Pakistan, leading to widespread unrest and demands for independence. The immediate cause of the war was the refusal of the Pakistani government to recognize the electoral victory of the Awami League in the 1970 general elections, which led to widespread protests and a brutal military crackdown in East Pakistan. Overview of RAW's formation and objectives. The Research and Analysis Wing, RAW, was established in 1968 as India's external intelligence agency, following the Sino-Indian War of 1962 and the Indo-Pakistani War of 1965. Its primary objectives include gathering intelligence, conducting covert operations, and supporting India's strategic interests abroad. RAW's mandate includes counter-terrorism, counter-proliferation, and monitoring the political and military developments in neighboring countries. Historical context. Political and economic conditions in East Pakistan. East Pakistan faced severe political and economic marginalization by the central government in West Pakistan. Despite being the more populous region, East Pakistan received less political representation and economic investment. The language movement of the 1950s, which protested against the imposition of Urdu as the national language, highlighted the cultural and linguistic discrimination faced by Bengalis. Economic disparities were stark, with East Pakistan contributing a significant portion of Pakistan's export earnings, particularly through jute, but receiving a disproportionately small share of government spending. Emergence of the Mukti Bahini. The Mukti Bahini was a guerrilla resistance movement formed by Bengali nationalists in East Pakistan. It consisted of defected Bengali military personnel, students, and civilians. The movement gained momentum after the Pakistani military's Operation Searchlight, which aimed to suppress Bengali nationalism through widespread atrocities, including mass killings and rapes. The Mukti Bahini conducted guerrilla warfare, sabotage, and intelligence operations against Pakistani military forces, playing a crucial role in the fight for independence. RAW's role in the Liberation War. Intelligence gathering and analysis. RAW provided critical intelligence to the Indian government and military about Pakistani troop movements, strategies, and plans. This intelligence was crucial for planning military operations and supporting the Mukti Bahini. The agency established a network of informants and collaborators within East Pakistan to gather real-time information. This network included Bengali nationalists, defected military personnel, and sympathetic civilians. Training and arming Mukti Bahini. RAW played a pivotal role in training and arming the Mukti Bahini fighters. The agency set up training camps in India, where Mukti Bahini members received military training in guerrilla warfare, sabotage, and intelligence gathering. RAW provided logistical support, including weapons, ammunition, and communication equipment, to the Mukti Bahini. This support was crucial for sustaining the resistance movement and conducting effective operations against Pakistani forces. Psychological warfare and propaganda. RAW conducted psychological warfare operations to demoralize Pakistani forces and boost the morale of the Mukti Bahini. This included spreading disinformation, conducting psychological operations, and using propaganda to highlight the atrocities committed by Pakistani forces. The agency disseminated information about the Pakistani military's human rights abuses to garner international support for the Bangladeshi cause. This included working with international media and diplomatic channels to raise awareness about the situation in East Pakistan. Coordination with Indian military. RAW worked closely with the Indian military to plan and execute operations in support of the Mukti Bahini. This included coordinating joint operations, providing intelligence support, and facilitating communication between the Mukti Bahini and Indian military units. the agency's intelligence was instrumental in the successful execution of military operations, such as the Indian Army's intervention in December 1971, which led to the rapid defeat of Pakistani forces and the creation of Bangladesh. Impact of RAW's operations. Successes and challenges. RAW's operations were largely successful in supporting the Mukti Bahini and contributing to the liberation of Bangladesh. The agency's intelligence, training, and logistical support were crucial for the success of the resistance movement. However, RAW faced challenges, including the risk of exposure and the need to operate covertly in a hostile environment. The agency had to navigate complex political and military dynamics, both within East Pakistan and in the broader international context. Long-term implications for India-Bangladesh relations. RAW's involvement in the Liberation War strengthened India-Bangladesh relations. The two countries have since maintained close diplomatic, economic, and cultural ties, with India playing a key role in Bangladesh's post-independence reconstruction and development. The strong foundation laid during the Liberation War continues to influence India-Bangladesh relations positively. However, the relationship has also faced challenges, including border disputes, water-sharing issues, and political differences. Some detailed examples of how RAW coordinated with the Indian military during the Bangladesh Liberation War. Operation Jackpot. Objective: to disrupt Pakistani supply lines and communication networks. Coordination: RAW provided intelligence and logistical support to the Indian Navy and the Mukti Bahini for this operation. Execution: the Indian Navy, along with Mukti Bahini commandos trained by RAW, carried out a series of attacks on Pakistani ships and ports in East Pakistan. These attacks significantly hampered the Pakistani military's ability to resupply and reinforce their troops. 1. Operation Searchlight Counterintelligence. Objective: to gather intelligence on Pakistani military operations and provide strategic information to the Indian military. Coordination: RAW established a network of informants within East Pakistan, including defected Bengali officers and local collaborators. Execution: the intelligence gathered by RAW was crucial in countering Operation Searchlight, a brutal crackdown by the Pakistani military on Bengali nationalists. This information helped the Indian military plan their interventions and support the Mukti Bahini effectively too. Training camps for Mukti Bahini. Objective: to train and equip the Mukti Bahini for guerrilla warfare against Pakistani forces. Coordination: RAW set up several training camps in India, particularly in West Bengal and Assam, where Indian military instructors provided training in guerrilla tactics, sabotage, and intelligence gathering. Execution: these camps trained thousands of Mukti Bahini fighters, who then carried out numerous successful operations against Pakistani forces. The training included the use of explosives, small arms, and tactics for ambushes and hit-and-run attacks. Operation Cactus Lily. Objective: to launch a coordinated military offensive to liberate East Pakistan. Coordination: RAW provided detailed intelligence on Pakistani troop deployments, fortifications, and supply routes. This intelligence was used by the Indian Army to plan their operations. Execution: the Indian Army, with support from the Indian Air Force and Navy, launched a multi-pronged attack on East Pakistan. The intelligence provided by RAW allowed the Indian forces to bypass heavily defended areas and target weak points in the Pakistani defenses, leading to a swift victory. 4. Psychological operations. Objective: to demoralize Pakistani forces and boost the morale of the Mukti Bahini and the local population. Coordination: RAW worked with the Indian military to conduct psychological operations, including the dissemination of propaganda and information about Pakistani atrocities. Execution: these operations included dropping leaflets, broadcasting radio messages, and using loudspeakers to spread information. The psychological impact of these operations was significant, leading to desertions among Pakistani troops and increased support for the Mukti Bahini 5. Coordination with Indian Air Force. Objective: to provide air support for ground operations and disrupt Pakistani supply lines. Coordination: RAW provided intelligence on key targets, such as bridges, supply depots, and communication centers. Execution: The Indian Air Force conducted precision strikes based on Ross intelligence, crippling the Pakistani military's ability to move troops and supplies. These air strikes were crucial in the success of ground operations by the Indian Army and the Mukti Bahini. Current political crisis in Bangladesh. Overview of the crisis. Bangladesh is currently facing a political crisis marked by widespread protests and the resignation of Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. The crisis stems from long-standing issues such as the controversial quota system, economic disparities, and allegations of corruption. The crisis has been exacerbated by political polarization, with the ruling Awami League and the opposition Bangladesh Nationalist Party, BNP, locked in a bitter power struggle. This has led to frequent clashes between supporters of the two parties and a deteriorating law and order situation. Key factors contributing to the unrest. Economic inequality and unemployment have fueled public discontent. Despite significant economic growth in recent years, many Bangladeshis feel left behind, with rising living costs and limited job opportunities. Political polarization and allegations of electoral fraud have further exacerbated the situation. The opposition has accused the ruling party of manipulating elections and suppressing dissent, leading to widespread protests and calls for political reform. Potential role of RAW in the current crisis. Intelligence and monitoring. RAW can play a role in stabilizing the situation by providing intelligence and support to the Indian government and its allies. The agency can help monitor the situation on the ground and provide early warnings of potential threats, such as political violence or extremist activities. RAW's intelligence capabilities can also support diplomatic efforts to mediate between conflicting parties in Bangladesh. By providing accurate and timely information, the agency can help facilitate dialogue and negotiations aimed at resolving the crisis. Diplomatic and strategic support. RAW can assist in diplomatic efforts to mediate between conflicting parties in Bangladesh. This includes supporting India's diplomatic initiatives, working with international partners, and leveraging its intelligence network to facilitate communication and negotiations. The agency can also support strategic initiatives to ensure regional stability and security. This includes monitoring extremist groups, preventing cross-border terrorism, and supporting efforts to address the underlying causes of the crisis, such as economic inequality and political polarization. Conclusion. Summary of RAW's contributions. RAW played a crucial role in the Bangladesh Liberation War by providing intelligence, training, and support to the Mukti Bahini. The agency's efforts contributed significantly to the successful liberation of Bangladesh. In the current political crisis, RAW can play a role in stabilizing the situation by providing intelligence, supporting diplomatic efforts, and ensuring regional security. Future prospects for India-Bangladesh relations. The strong foundation laid during the Liberation War continues to influence India-Bangladesh relations positively. Ongoing cooperation and mutual support are essential for maintaining regional stability and addressing current challenges. By working together to address common challenges, such as economic development, security, and political stability, India and Bangladesh can continue to build a strong and mutually beneficial relationship.